Just looking for that Quisling. It said here, yes. It was number 11, page 185A. Yeah. But the only thing that I show here is the International War Crimes Tribunal at the Nuremberg, Germany. Yeah. Now, I have mentioned certain war crimes. Yes. There's the war crime of depriving me of my right to operate a vehicle. Yes. There's the war crime, yes, of depriving me of my Second Amendment rights. Yes. There's the war crime, yes, of misprision of felony. Pew. Now, today, yes, I'd very much like it if you removed your forgery and fraud. And I really am going to do these class action lawsuits, and I'm going to speak to those persons that are involved. Yeah, because I think it's a war crime to probable cause an arrest of somebody. Yes. Or you refuse to acknowledge the evidence that they hadn't committed any crime. Yes. And then it's my responsibility, yes, to go through my criminal record and have it removed. Oh, and since you made that unavailable to me until approximately the age of 65, yes, he does. I think it's a war crime, yes, to not have some sufficient amount of evidence to place the individual at the place of the crime, yes. Now, for those in you in law enforcement that said, well, we want to be on the safe side, for all the not guilty verdicts, yes. For all the mental health evaluations, poop. For all the individuals that are concerned about their criminal records, let's go ahead. I think you're a little too over concerned about the protections of the community and haven't been concerned about the protections of the rights of those that you've detained. Yeah. Now, this is what's called a trust. Yes, happen to be on the same page. And in law is the holding of real or personal property by one person or trustee for the use and benefit of another person or beneficiary. An example of a trust would be one where a man entrusts money or property to a bank to be held and used by the bank for the benefit of his children. Yes. Now, these REITs, known as REITs, yes, real estate investment trusts, those corporations, LLCs, and individuals that invest in real estate. Why don't you get me the portfolio holdings of all the real estate investment trusts? Yes, that are publicly listed on any market of the world. Poop! And then all those attorneys that thought, well, I'd represent him considering the misprision of felony. As soon as I get done suing you, I'd be happy to speak to you about representing me. Now, a lot of these very well-to-do law firms, yeah, that top 1%, that have those plans for their retirements where they can contribute X number of 50 to $100,000 a year, maybe more, profit sharing. A lot of them have children, and their concern is, well, what happens if I pass away? Why don't you get me all the trust fund babies, all the individuals in this nation, yeah, that have a trust fund set up for them because of the estate planning concerns of their parents? Now, I know it's a difficult task, but there seems to be this idea that if you're well to do and you come from the right family, you can always get your rights enforced because your parents are attorneys. Yes. But if you're just a regular old American citizen that happened to grow up with a father that was maybe a little bit of a drinker, you know, I want you to understand something. While living with my father, he introduced me to well, it's called fortified wine. And I mentioned about giving gifts of maybe some wild turkey. But for those of you that are oaths, badges, and attorneys, you can get a kind of wine that happens to be fortified, yes, called the Night Train Express. Which I personally wanted to own that company because they produce a wine that has a screw top on it. Yes. And it's the least expensive fortified wine that you can usually purchase in any community of the United States. Now, my suggestion is why don't you buy yourself a bottle? Pouch! Because it could be, yes, that you need to wake up tomorrow blind drunk. See, my own father said, if you drink this, yes, you won't be able to see in the morning. I said, well, I could drink it. Pouch! It goes down real easy. It's kind of got a sweet taste to it. Yes, it does. But halfway down the bottle, you begin to realize your intoxication. Yes. And if you can make it to the end of the bottle of the Night Train Express, boo! When you wake up in the morning, you will not be able to see. Now, for a lot of those that are attorneys, I think it's time for you to consider the Night Train Express because I did drink it one time and I found out that my biological father was right. I had a very difficult time focusing my vision the next day after drinking the fucking thing.